Thank you, and have a warm welcome for Debbie and Ramiro.
Thank you. All right, I hope you guys can hear us. Everybody awake this morning? Yeah? Holy cow, my brain is full. I don't know if your brains are full. We learned so much already, and we've learned about techniques, and we've learned about where the industry is headed, and now you're probably all charged up like we are to go employ some of the new techniques. But none of these things happen in a vacuum, right? We have to work together with other companies, whether they're our corporate clients or other research suppliers. We all need to work together. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll hone in a little bit on the do-it part of our 3 tasks for the week about how we bring this all to life and work together as partners to get great innovative insights.
So good morning. I feel like a singer with a microphone like this, but so yeah, when Debbie invited me to present, and when she was talking or telling me about the topic, I thought it was really, really exciting because in most of these conferences, what we talk about is all the innovation, all the great techniques and new methodologies, but I think that we talk a little bit about the importance of ways of working together, right? So our presentation is going to be about, we're going to tell you the example of how we partner together and the end result of a great partnership and, really good research.
Yay. And when we do this, when we use these new innovative techniques and we have great relationships, research can be fun. Sometimes it feels so serious, but it can be really fun. To get these insights. So what we did to kind of bring our story to life for you is the title of our presentation is about going the distance. And so we took a song from the band Cake. Are you guys familiar with Cake? Okay, and they have a song called Going the Distance. And with BMI approval, of course, we changed it up a little bit and changed the lyrics to research ones. And this will just kind of start us off in a high energy way this morning.
Emails, meeting in 0 time. The study, launches and proposals go up. We're calling, we're bidding, and following up. We definitely recruit and design the flow. We operate because you got to know how to methods or parallel paths. Getting insights and love facts. Methodically we pour through the tabs to find a linkage that freaking grabs. Reporting, revising, preparing to death. Eyes are bloodshot. Arrows are wreck. The price is now getting presentation complete. Recommend steps are clear and concrete. But he's trying, and wants to fine tune. Takes a little long, he's got to prove. He's going the distance. He's going for speed. He's above need. We're partners, not better. We fall and behind when the others have failed. We will respond. We're partners, not better. A cultural city. Truth and insight is what we will gain. Nice one, partner, not better.
Thank you. So the overall theme is, hey, we're partners. When we act as partners and not, vendors, then it's a win-win. We get the insights, so it's fun.
And my wife approved the video, so it should be fine. So, can I get the clicker? So this journey started in 2015, at the end of 2015, when my company thought the need or that there's an opportunity for one of our most important brands in Pepsi, that is Mountain Dew, to play in the mixology business. So before we started crafting the strategy or even exploring the possibility of getting into that business, we knew that we needed robust insights to start with. But we didn't want to follow the traditional approach in which, we work with the same vendors over and over. We wanted a fresh eyes and a new approach for this specific venture. So we started the process of really looking for the right company to work on this project. So obviously the first thing that we did is talk internally to people that we trust, talking to the industry, to people that we really believe that they know And we got the names. When we got the names of the potential vendors that can work with us, we really started doing our due diligence. We started vetting them, asking for reports to see some kind of examples of the quality of their work, and also talking to people that have worked with them, really, really important. And at the end, we decided to go with Elevated Insights. Once we had that, the first meeting that we had was not only with me, it was with my whole team. So we made sure that we were really, really clear on setting up the objectives and the expectations for the research.
It's so important to form relationships and to cast vision up front. That's one thing that Ramiro did so well. We were fortunate to be able to meet in person because we were at another research conference where he shared his passion, his energy, the task he had at hand, a lot of the background information on, what was happening, what was the business landscape, what were, just a lot of the background pieces of information. And even when it's so specific as to say, beginning with the end in mind, here are examples of reports that have been really well received in our company. And even, you guys know, all companies like things a little bit different, and even internally, different divisions or end clients want something a little bit different. So kind of seeing his vision for the end in mind and feeling his passion made such a big difference to get us on board and be just as passionate and motivated to get the insight as he was. Because he was very transparent and sharing of all the background, it enabled us to be more strategic in our approach, which was great. And I know it's not typical to be able to meet in person at the launch of a new supplier or relationship, but you sure can get pretty darn close nowadays with WebEx. If you enable the camera, which a lot of times we don't want to do if you're in your jammies or whatever, but if you enable the camera and you can feel the energy and see the excitement, it just brings a different level of connection so that you can feel that passion and get kind of on the same playing field at the beginning.
So when we're looking for new vendors or new partners, it can really be scary, right? I mean, there's a learning curve that both companies need to go through. They need to learn how to work with me, and I need to learn how to work with them. So for me, it seems like you need to kiss 100 frogs to get your princess, right? Who really wants to do that? So I think that building that level of trust is necessary, but it's not easy. And the last thing that you want to have is to be in this position. That was painful. But so that is really what we want to avoid, right? And I think that the way you start building trust is, you have done your due diligence with them. You have vetted them. You know them now. So I think that this matter of giving control now from the project, even though it feels scary, you need to do it. And part of building that trust, and even though you give the control of the project, you still need to guide the supplier through the process. Yes, we hire them because of the expertise, but we are the leaders. We are owning the project all the way through, and we need to guide them. We know our internal company. We know our internal clients. There might be things that are changing, the scope of the project internally, so we need to lead. And part of leading really is touching base regularly. So when we started the project, we agreed that we're going to touch base once a week at least, right? I think it was on Wednesdays, but I understand that our calendars, can change really quickly, and I was moving the meeting a lot, but Elevated Insights was really good on keeping me on track, right? If I couldn't meet the day that we agreed, they were flexing their calendars to meet mine, so I think it was great. And the reason that I thought it was really important to touch base regularly, it was not only about tracking the status of the project and making sure that we meet the deadlines, but also it was a safe environment to vent any questions that we have to discuss, to tell them if something has changed internally in the company. So I thought that this was really, really good in the end, and has a high impact in the end result of the project. So the main idea, I think the idea here is simple. The idea here is not to see the vendor or have the relationship vendor-client. It's all about collaboration. It's all about being true partners. And I love this equation that most of you have seen, that, the end result is really bigger than the sum of the parts. And I think that that's exactly what happened. I think that the result, the research results that we had were much bigger than anything that I could have done myself or anything that they could have done by themselves without our partnership.
So I think it's really important as we start learning about these great new techniques and wanting to bring them to light with our clients is to make sure we're aligned on how comfortable we are with trying something that perhaps is, had never been done before at that company, or maybe we haven't done it before. In this instance, we were very well aligned that, hey, let's give it a shot. We had the bigger objective at the heart of the matter. We knew that we were gonna go down these paths, and if we weren't getting the depth and the richness of the answers that we wanted, it was okay to shift course. So it was mainly that we were gonna answer this question. We all had that same passion and drive to get the answers, and so we were willing to try new things to seek the truth. At the same time, as we went through it, you do need to be flexible and be willing to shift if things start surprising you. So in our study, we were surprised at some of the products that were coming to the surface. It wasn't what we expected as far as generating a lot of consumer intrigue. And, we had set out on our initial, expected, online activities of we'll hone in on this day, and this day, and this day. And when towards the end, the energy was shifting towards something we didn't expect, well, rather than saying, well, we're at the end of that phase of research, maybe we do another study, we shifted on the fly and said, no, let's lengthen this field work. Let's go deeper. Let's shift this line of questioning so that we can grab a hold of what it is we need to know. And then later on, oh, you can't put him on yet. Okay, it's okay. And then later on, in the study, when certain insights were emerging towards the very end of a qualitative session, we're like, this is fascinating, but darn it, we're out of time. Just really quickly throwing in another leg of the research to go a little deeper and get those answered too. So I think the flexibility is really important. Okay. Now we can have our funny slide. Okay, so what's he doing here? That's kind of weird. Do you guys know who this is? Yes, Red. What show is he from? Yes. Okay, now here's the trick question. Does anybody know the word he always used to describe his son? Dumbass. Yes, dumbass. Okay, so this might be just a smidge controversial, and you may disagree with me, but I'm going to bring up something that's rarely talked about at conferences, and that is occasionally there can be a perceived hierarchy of strategic understanding between corporate researchers and suppliers, especially, it seems, among younger corporate researchers, where maybe they think because they are the client, they're the one that has all the strategic understanding, and maybe they don't elicit or solicit as much strategic input from the vendors as they could. And of course, the vendors are trying to offer it up, but if it's encountered with this is the way we're going to do it, this is the way we're always doing it, then you might not get as much richness in that partnership as you otherwise could. And on the other hand, when it's very well received, and when it's almost expected, and they acknowledge that, hey, that this flows both ways. You maybe have experience from different categories or different brands than I do, and we realize that on their end that they have a lot of insider knowledge that we don't, and you put those together, that's when the synergy really seems to happen. I'm just curious, in this room here, how many of you, due to your love of the industry or your personal circumstances, have worked on both sides, both with clients and, yeah, so that's a lot of hands in this room, both as a client and as a supplier. I think those of us who love insights, love research, have this passion for learning, you'll probably end up working on both sides of the equation. So it's great when we can work together to the full extent. In this instance, Ramiro was so kind. I mean, so it wasn't just open, but there was a kindness and a friendship that developed that made us, again, so on board with his passion. And anything from starting a meeting to good morning, my dear friends, to being fully transparent with, hey, you should be aware that there's something new kind of bubbling up in the organization that we might want to tackle with this. So the more sharing and the more transparency and flat out kindness you receive, you're always going to deliver the task at hand, but you do it so much more joyfully when the respect is there and when the kind treatment is there. It can turn into insights.
And it's, I cannot say that this project went really well, but we had times in which, we found some bumps on the road. And one thing that I've learned throughout my career is that if you have to question someone or if you have to challenge someone, we need to do it with respect, right? Because I am a firm believer that you receive what you give, and treating people with respect, it's part of what I do. I am very upfront and very frontal. I will say things the way I feel it, but I will tend to do it with respect, and I think that helps a lot in the relationship. So at the end of the day, what is all yield for the project? And I will summarize this, and I would say that this yield passion, right? Passion is the word for me that will summarize this. And I could see from Elevated Insights, they were really immersed. They were really passionate about this research. I'm pretty sure that they were dreaming about me. Hopefully not a nightmare, but they were really into the project. And what you get as a client is a total buy-in. So they were willing to go the extra mile, willing to go the distance to get what we want. So they didn't have any problem on tweaking or changing the presentation several times, as you will know that happened frequently. But they were willing to do it. And something that for me was really great about this experience with them is that they were as happy at the end of the research as they were at the beginning. So for me, it was really good. It was really a pleasure to work with them.
So yeah, ultimately it did yield a win-win where, like Ramiro said, this was a 5-month project. So to still have that same level of energy at the end as you do at the beginning was a great feeling. And we're able to leave it, when you have a partnership kind of arrangement, genuinely satisfied that, hey, we were able to harness that voice of the consumer, and we were able to share it in a meaningful way so that it can answer the questions at hand and make a strategic difference.
Yeah, we got the results. Sorry, we got the results and clear direction on where we need to go with this venture. So as you will be asking, so what was the result of this great research that you were telling me about? But since this is work in progress, as with any other company in this convention, it's like we cannot really share what the key insights were from the research, but what we can share is what are the different methodologies that we apply. So when we started this project, we told them, hey, we think that we need some qualitative, obviously we need some quantitative. We were clear on the people that we wanted to interview, right? The core consumers, maybe Gen Pop to see if this is going to expand our base of customers, and also bartenders that are the ones that will be selling our products. But this is the way it evolved into a hybrid methodology.
Yeah, so with the flexibility and the willingness to try and sharing of the objectives, it ended up evolving into probably 9 different methods that all came together. Even before any of this, I think there was a big period of time where we were just immersing in secondary data, in the prior reports he had shared, and anything we could get our hands on, so to just get strategically up to speed. After that, we conducted social media analysis or trend analysis, combing for all the hashtags, and really qualitatively reading what was going on social media, on all the different forms. Then we went into a phase of consumer testing where we did a combination of mobile ethnography, online interactive experiences, and then even some mobile experiences, real-time product trial experiences, both by having them create bar trial experiences and hosting a lot of home parties around the country where they were experiencing different combinations of products for the first time and recording it real time so that we could get that in the moment reaction without being physically present to where our presence could adjust the situation. After that, we went into the bar. It was really hard, as you can imagine, to get some of our millennial researchers to agree to bar ethnographies, having to go around the country and do observations and talk to people and interview the bartenders. It was actually a lot of fun for them, and it was a secondary use of the interactions with bartenders actually became a recruiting tool, because it can be hard to make sure you're talking to true live people who are really doing this job at the exact type of bar that you're interested in. So we were able to recruit them there to go deeper online and to do some photo journaling of their specific bar. And then we went a step further with the bartenders and did some online focus groups, which, like I mentioned, online groups are often just 60 minutes. So towards the end of that, we're really getting deep into some territory that we wished we had more time to explore. So we added on a quick quantitative feedback from bartenders online, and then closed it up with a real beefy qualitative or quantitative study to add some rigor to the insights that we had gained qualitatively. So we kind of had a very hybrid method. So that just shows some of the fun from the field. So when you're doing this, it yields not only a great partnership, but it can be fun for the consumer too. They were enjoying the research, we enjoyed it, but ultimately at the end we were able to deliver the big ask, and get the answers that the client needed.
I think that that's all.
I think so.
We have, yeah. Thank
So
you.
We have
Do you have any questions out there as you reflect on partnership and the ways of working together? It's a big, bright house.
Hi, that was really, really exciting. My name is Ava Lindberg, and I wanted to ask, when you described that the project was going another direction and you had to put in another phase or step, was that a positive direction, or was it an area of concern? Because I know in some cases we may find that the competitors are more difficult, or the brand is not as, the foundation is not as solid as we thought, or then there's new opportunities on the positive. So I'm just curious if you're able to reveal whether, and then how you handled whether it was positive, negative, or complex.
Yeah, there were really two large times in the study that we changed course. One was the former that you talked about. It was positive. It was a surprise, a wow, we didn't see this coming. And let's not ignore this potentially very cool nugget of information and excitement that's coming. So let's lengthen and let's shift, and let's maybe slightly adjust our recruiting as we go forward to people so that we can keep getting that insight. And then the second time we shifted direction, it was one of those where we wished we had gone deeper on qualitative. At the end, we're like, man, that was interesting, but we had so many things in the guide, and we were trying to get through 60 minutes. We wish we had been able to explore this one area more fully, and we didn't feel like we had as many of the answers as we wanted, and so we added a quantitative piece.
The one example that I can think of that I think it was really positive is, when we started the project, we thought that nobody was mixing Mountain Dew with alcohol at all, right? But when we did, no, honestly, good for you, my friend. It's a lot of caffeine.
Gotta love
good
the
for
innovators.
You. So we learned from the social listening that there are people really truly mixing Mountain Dew, and they are doing it and they love it, right? So that obviously, that helped us to bring another piece of, it's not only the loyalist or the target from our brand. We thought that there's opportunity with Gen Pop also. So that's an example that I have.
Any other questions out there? Oh, right there in the front.
In the pyramid that you showed, there was like above the emotional benefit essence. Can you talk a little bit about what do you mean with that?
Oh, it's the more overarching end feeling. It's even, if an emotional benefit is kind of the end feeling that's immediately linked with the usage or experience with the brand, the essence is even a step above that, you know,
So in
it's-
your research in the qualitatives, like how do you push those proving to get into?
Yeah, we were trying to see by combining quant and qual, the entire pyramid, like what's the foundational benefits, you know, what would be the occasions this might be used in, what would be the immediate benefit, and then the overarching kind of umbrella. And so we came up with a few different ways that you could position in our recommended positioning. And so obviously we took all the answers out, but that was kind of how it was presented, yeah.
Good.
We were going to show our video one more time, if that's okay.
All right,
It's only a minute. It goes by pretty quick, and the lyrics are all exactly what we were talking about today.
All right.
So
We'll go out on a musical note.
Goes now?
Just as long as I don't have to sing backup, we should all be fine.
It's not going.
Oh, you know what? We may not be
Yeah.
able to. I'm getting.
anymore? That's okay.
That's
Yep.
okay.
No
All right.
problem.
Thank you very
though.
much. Thank you.
Great job.